What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 262, powered by, of course, Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Shout out to them for sponsoring the whole season 4. If you haven't got any, get a 24-pack at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. I got mine right here. I actually opened it right before the podcast, so it is a full can, unlike the last episode where like my can was pretty much empty. So this is fire, very, very nice. And yeah, my mouth gets dry very quickly because I'm talking to myself for like roughly an hour. So it's good to have something that I really enjoy to drink here. So I wanted to originally review the Kanye West Vultures album, but there's so much news in the headlines like these past couple of days that I want to sit with the album too a little bit more because it came out like Friday night. Like I'm talking like 2 at night or 3 at night, like in the middle of the night. So I want to sit with the album a little bit more, and I know it's getting removed off streaming platforms and things are getting changed around left and right. So it's hard to like kind of, what the final album is, because Kanye's always had these kind of issues with albums and rollouts for the past like 3-4 albums. It's getting really ridiculous at this point. At his level, he needs to stop messing around and messing up. I don't know what would, there's a lot of copyright infringement, and we'll talk about that later in the podcast, but that it's frustrating because it's like, you're Kanye West. Get this shit together. Come on. First, let's get into the news, and I'm going to give you guys an update on Jam Master Jay. So Jam Master Jay's murder trial is going to proceed as judge shuts down defense's mistrial motion. Jam Master Jay's long-delayed murder trial will go on as scheduled after the judge denied the defense motion for a mistrial. According to Associated Press, defense lawyers requested the mistrial on Thursday, February 8th, on the grounds that prosecutors improperly guided a witness testimony. On the stand, the witness said one of the two defendants confessed to her that he killed the Run DMC DJ shortly after his death and told her, people get what they deserve. Prosecutors argued that the defense planted a seed of prejudice through their line of questioning, but U.S. District Judge LaShanne D'Arcy Hall denied their request for a mistrial because the witness had made similar prior statements. Judge Hall did, however, reprimand the prosecutors, saying that their questions crossed the line and that there was no need whatsoever. The two specific questions that sparked the issue came from Assistant U.S. Attorney Mark Misarek, who asked, did he say he killed Jam Master Jay, and did he say that people get what they deserve? The witness, a former girlfriend of the accused Ronald Washington, said yes to both. Upon her decision to deny the motion for mistrial, Judge Hall made sure to tell jurors to disregard the two questions and their answers. So, yeah, looks like it's continuing, which is good because too many of these trials just stop, and then you guys know YNW Melly's been like dealing with his shit forever. Young Thug's going through his, Nipsey's took forever, and it finally got, settled. So these guys got arrested in 2020. I understand 2020 was a crazy year because of COVID and, the whole George Floyd thing, and just overall it was just a crazy year. You had Pop Smoke and Kobe died that year. I was just talking with a friend about how 2020 was a crazy year. Like, we had Kobe die on January 26th. And then Pop Smoke did an interview talking about Kobe dying, and then Pop Smoke dies like right after. It's a crazy, crazy year. I don't know why I have those like years, those like 2019 and 2020, I have them like all jumbled into one because 4 people died that were like major. We're talking Nipsey Hussle, Juice WRLD, Kobe. And it seemed like it happened all back to back when really it didn't. I know the Nipsey thing happened way earlier, and then the Juice WRLD thing. The Juice WRLD, Kobe, and Pop Smoke thing happened like back to back to back, like each month, which is like insane. So, yeah, we'll keep our eye on this Jam Master Jay trial, and hopefully Jam Master Jay gets the justice he so rightfully deserves, and his family, get the justice they deserve as well, because this has been long overdue, and I'm glad that there's something going on when it comes to his murder trial. Updates on Kodak Black, and he's going to remain in federal prison. So let's go over the article. Kodak Black's Florida drug possession charges have been dismissed, but the rapper will still remain in federal lockup for the time being. According to Associated Press, the charge was dismissed on February 9th, which was a Friday, after Judge Barbara Duffy told prosecutors that they couldn't confirm or refute whether the rapper had a prescription for oxycodone. The drug, which was found in Kodak Black's possession, why am I messing up words so much, man? I don't understand sometimes. Possession, when he was first arrested back in December, was what prompted the initial arrest and subsequently caused his bond in a separate federal matter to be revoked. Kodak Black's attorney, Bradford Cohen, is trying to get his client's separate tampering charge dismissed as well. Cohen also said that he hopes the dismissal of his tampering charge will prompt the Miami Federal Detention Center to free his client. Yeah, man. He started back in December 7th having these issues. And looks like they're not really going to give him a slap on the wrist this time. So I don't understand at this point, man. I talk about this on the podcast 90 million times. Why don't you learn your lesson? Why don't you move a different way? I was watching a body cam, because I've been watching a lot of these body cam police videos on YouTube. I get into this like wormhole of just watching people, get arrested. And they 90% of the time, these people talk themselves into getting arrested. Like, it's the dumbest, like, through their actions, they literally put themselves in a situation where they get arrested. Because most of the time, the police are, like, chill. They give you, like, 90 million warnings before they actually arrest you. And people still, they can't get it through their head. It's like a weird, it's like they have an issue with authority. Like, these people that were raised, they just have an issue with authority. I just watched a lady get arrested, and the police officer was like, you're not arrested, ma'am. You're just detained. She's like, what is that? What is detained? And she was like, I don't want to be detained. And she was like yelling and, my God, like throwing a fit. And mind you, this is a lady that was like clearly in her 40s and crying. Grow the fuck up at this point. Like, you got to own up to your actions, whatever you did, even if you didn't do it, right? Let's just say, hey, police officers are in the wrong. It happens. You get your day in court, man. It sucks. It is what it is. Just suck it up for the moment. I mean, I've never had any issues with interactions with police. I actually got pulled over with a license plate issue a while ago that I didn't know, because I had a custom license plate, and I had changed some paperwork on my car at the time, and they brought me a different license plate, and I didn't know that the custom license plate didn't transfer to like the newly I had refinanced the car, so you have to redo paperwork and stuff when you refinance a car, and yeah, the paper it never transferred over. So they sent me a new license plate. I was like, why did I get a new license plate? I didn't really look into it much. So I kept the old custom one thinking it would transfer over. And then a police officer stopped me and was like, hey, this license plate doesn't come back to a car at all. Like, it's not even registered. And I was like, that's weird, because I've had police officers, mind you, I had this plate in the car for like 8 months. So I've had police officers be behind me and never get pulled over. But this cop ended up pulling me over. I was cool about the situation. I said, hey, let me, call my brother. He's got the plate. I got the plate in my room. And I was like, he can get it and he can give me the numbers and I can show you guys a photo of it. I'm sure this is the plate, blah, blah, blah. They saw it. The police officer was genuinely confused, like the one that came there, but then like a superintendent or whatever, what do you call those, like commanders, whatever, those people that are higher above, he came there and he kind of clarified the situation for him because he was confused. And I was like, there's really nothing to be confused about. But I get it. So people steal cars and do a bunch of bullshit. But I could have threw a fit and been like, nah, I pay this is my fucking car. I pay the bills. I do this. I do that. And then started arguing with them and just, act erratic for no reason. But, the officer was in the wrong. I was in the wrong just for not transferring the plates. But at the end of the day, the officer was pushing it to a point where I was like, are you going to like get me locked up in trouble for this shit? I was like, I didn't do nothing wrong. I just didn't transfer plates. Like, put them on the car. That's all that I didn't do. And the officer was, yeah. So a lot of these interactions, like speaking of interactions, 6ix9ine got pulled over in his Rolls Royce. There's literally police footage of it. It's interesting because a lot of celebrities get pulled over, and now there's, every police officer has a body cam. So he gets pulled over and he's very calm and chill. And they're like, why don't you have a license plate on the actual car? And I didn't know this. I had no idea this was a thing, because it kind of makes sense now when you really think about it. When you're a celebrity of that like status, you don't have a plate on the car because there's a safety like issue. So he actually went to the Florida DMV, because he got pulled over in Miami, the Florida State DMV, and told them, hey, I'm a high celebrity status, and it's a risk to put my license plate on a car. And they confirmed it, and they said, listen, you don't have to put your license plate on the car. You can have it in your car, and if a cop pulls you over, you can show them the license plate. I didn't know that was even a thing. I didn't even know that was something that was possible. I don't remember. I don't know if celebrities do have license plates on their car. I don't really pay attention. But yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. But he explained to them, and apparently he just had a warrant for his arrest for a ticket that he got a while ago that he didn't show up to court for. So he just went to jail quick, paid, bond out, and that's it. He didn't throw a fit. You know, you would think 6ix9ine out of all people would throw a fit and, you know, be a baby about the situation. He wasn't. He was like, you know what? I fucked up. I didn't show up to court for that ticket. I had no idea. And let me, you know, go to jail, deal with it, bond out, good to go. And it's really that simple. 9 times out of 10, if you work with the police, they're going to work with you. You know, there's a footage that a guy got caught with like weed, and it was like above the legal limit. And he just admitted, hey, I got weed, blah, 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 and just was straight up with the cop. He's like, it's all right. He basically took the weed, and the cop took the weed, and he didn't get charged. He didn't get a ticket, nothing. So that could have been a worse situation. Had he lied, had he, you know, threw a fit, you know, they would have gave him a ticket, and you just talked yourself into, you know, a $180 ticket for no reason because your mouth won't shut up about something. I don't understand. Some people have like a problem with authority. Like, I don't get it. Like when it comes to teachers too, I've had, you know, when I was in high school, middle school, whatever, you know, you would have students that would throw fits if a teacher said, don't do this, don't do that. I'd be like, anyways, I'm getting on a whole tangent here, but like I said, Kodak Black, I hope, you know, he learns from these situations because it's really, at a certain age, it starts to look really stupid when you keep getting, you know, involved in dumb things over time. But, you know, hopefully he has finally learned from the situation. Speaking of learning, Kai Cenat. So if you don't know who Kai Cenat is, he is a popular, very, very popular streamer. He streams, I believe, on Twitch or Kick. I don't know. I don't really watch Kai Cenat too much. So he streams on one of those popular-ass platforms. And he got on a streaming platform and, you know, was like, who the hell is Killer Mike? Because Killer Mike won Best Hip-Hop Album. So he was like, who the hell is Killer Mike? Why did he win? Blah, 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 blah. Mind you, Kai Cenat is like, I don't even know his age. I think he's like 20 years old. I could be wrong. 22. So 22 years old. You know, he was born basically in 2001, which is crazy to say. 2001, I think. I just looked. Let me actually look it up again. I just deleted the actual. Yeah, 2001, December 16th, 2001. That's crazy. Anybody above 2000, I just look at them like little kids. It's crazy. Act like I'm super old at 1995. That's when I was born. But yeah, he basically was like, who the hell is Killer Mike? Why do you win Best Hip Hop Album? Well, Killer Mike responded. And the way he responded was literally perfect. So let's play the clip.
Who decided this motherfucker?
I want to invite Kai out. Thank you for saying my name.
Kai,
I know your guy. I know your guy in weird, but listen, I want to come to the room. I want to bring you a broom because Atlanta still won. You feel me?
Yeah.
However it go, young player, just know I rock with you two and I'm cheering for all of us. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to just say to young people out there, it ain't nothing wrong with expanding. It ain't nothing wrong with trying something else. It ain't nothing wrong, you know, with just giving, you know, you don't have to be always in the crowd. So I just want to encourage our listeners out there. As a kid, I listened to as much rock and roll as I did rap. I listened to Metallica. I listened to Led Zeppelin. You just heard T-Pain do a rendition of Ozzy Ozbourne when he was with Black Sabbath. And you have to become culturally rich too. Like, I know the people that you watch and you like and that stream and you agree with them and they agree with you. That's a good feeling to be a part of that. But bring something else to the club. Be the person to say, let me turn you on to this. If you love Andre 3000, you should know who Portishead is. Well, why? Because Portishead affected Andre 3000 in 95, 96 in a way that radically changed the way he approached music. So you should always want to know what's the source of the source.
Teaching.
You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, give a big bro a shot. If you don't rock with it, don't rock with it. But, you know, I won. And I'm going to win again. I'm going to win again. And I'm going to win again.
That was the most elegant and perfect response I think anyone has ever had. I'm gonna be 100. I'm not even overhyping this. I 100% think that is one of the best responses ever. He just said, "Listen, be more culturally aware of things, and widen, you know, your consumption of music." And literally, that's what Benzino was saying during our interview when he said, "I wish Eminem fans would get one thing out of this interview, and it was, you know, listen to music outside of just Eminem hippity hoppity boppity type music." And that's the same thing Killer Mike's saying. It's like, yeah, you may not know who I am, but just give me a shot, listen to it. And if you don't rock with it, you don't like it, okay, it is what it is. At least you gave it a shot. And that's the problem with a lot of people in today's time. They don't give things shots at all. They just stay in their little bubble. of music that they like, and they don't like to expand and listen to other things. I remember it might have been Lonzo Ball, basketball player, NBA player. It might have been Lonzo Ball or LaMelo Ball. It might be his younger brother, LaMelo Ball. I don't remember which one, but they were like, Future's better than Nas, and Future's, Nas ain't shit. And they got a bunch of, I don't know which one it was out of the brothers, but got a bunch of backlash for that. And was like, just because you and your friends listen to Future, and that's your circle, and that's all you guys listen to, doesn't mean that all of a sudden, Future's the only one that's hot and relevant, and then Nas is nothing. No, there's a circle that listens just to Nas. But like I always encourage people, especially in hip-hop, you got all kinds of different sounds that you can listen to. And I've listened to different sounds. Some things I can't get into. And that's just opinion. That's just preference. Playboy Cardi is somebody I can't get into. Big Sean, for some reason, I just can't get into his music. And even Ty Dolla $ign with this Kanye West, I'm going to talk about that when I review the album. But Ty Dolla $ign is someone I'm not, really a fan of musically. I don't really check for his music like that. So, outside of music, I like to listen to, like I've listened to growing up, Green Day, Linkin Park, Everlessons, the group that beat 50 Cent in the Grammys. I think their name is Everlessons. I might be messing that up. What else? Three Doors Down. Lots of different stuff. And this is mainly 2000s type of music, but I still would listen to a lot of this stuff. Tim McGraw, whatever, whoever I was hearing, because a lot of the country stuff also mixed with hip hop. A lot of the rock stuff mixed with hip hop as well. So it made me, more aware of different things. And he's right. A lot of artists like Andre 3000 got inspiration from other people. Kevin Gates is one of those people that always says, I listen to this, I love this, I listen to that. And he's not ashamed to be like, oh, I just listen, I don't just listen to hip hop, he listens to everything. He's not ashamed to say it. And some people, I feel like they're ashamed to be like, I like this. I actually listen to this. I listen to Justin Bieber at certain points, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're a Bieber fan, and when kids would clown each other over what music to listen to. So I would listen to all kinds of different stuff. I still do to this day. I still give things chances. Unfortunately, a lot of the newer hip hop from what I've consumed is not what I've been liking, but there has been good stuff here and there. So to say that everything's been garbage and trash, no, that's not the case. Yeah, man, that's the perfect response. I hope Kai Cenat actually, hears that response, actually watched it and takes into consideration. Because I know when you're young, you really don't care. You're just you and your crew, and that's all you care about. And whatever is else out there, you could care, you don't give two shits about. So perfect response, though, man. Shout out to Killer Mike for that. William Roberts. It doesn't hit the same as Rose. You guys know what I'm talking about. William Roberts, a.k.a. Rick Ross. He says something interesting, man. And let's go over the article. Let's see what he said. Rick Ross has found himself on both sides of the rap beef, launching and also finding himself at the receiving end of some of the most brutal bars in rap music. But in a recent interview with Logan Paul's podcast, Impulsive, which dropped on Tuesday, February 6th, the boss made it clear that he doesn't believe that there are any rules or limits when it comes to engaging in verbal sparring. Interesting. So let's play the clip.
Pay attention to the rap beef.
I mean, of course it come across my page, you know what I mean?
Nicki dropped a response last night. I think it was last night, called Bigfoot. Do you think that you could go too far in rap beef, or you think it's all fair?
I really don't think you could go too far. I think, this is sport. It's hip hop, you know what I mean? And it's about having that fun. I call it fun. You know what I mean? Megan got off her record, I'm believing. If I'm wrong, let me know. She got off her joint.
Yep.
Nicki, being the queen she is in the rap game, she responded, got off her record, and that's what you're supposed to do.
Do you think bringing dead parents into it is questionable, too far?
I haven't heard anything about dead parents.
Nicki keeps bringing up Megan's dead mom on it, like a lot,
is she
about 15 times.
Her dead mother?
Yeah, you could say that.
Well, I haven't heard it.
Well, it just dropped. That's not your.
I haven't heard it.
Just dropped. I've
done things too. When I'm doing my thing too. When I'm at odds and I'm making my music, I've done things and said things too.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's fuck them.
First, Rick Ross is always in character, and when I say this, William Roberts is a whole different person and Rick Ross is a whole different person. So shout out to him. He is for an entertaining interview. I'm gonna watch the full interview of this because I caught myself watching it and watching a lot more of it than I expected. So shout out to William for that. He's a great entertainer. Second, I agree. There is no limits until, because Ross and 50, obviously we know they had their beef. 50 involved, baby mamas and children, and everybody got involved with different things. And Rose was using racial slurs at one point, calling black people monkeys and whatever the case may be. So there was no limits on that. I think it even got into a point where some things, some shootouts, some things happened, and I want to redo the 50 versus Ross, who really won. I got to redo that and do it like to a T, because at the time when I did it, I didn't know if people were going to accept. Here's how early I was on the long format documentaries on YouTube, by the way. I don't know if people were going to accept a 47-minute video on one beef. That's how early I was on this shit. And I was doing parts and stuff, like part 1 and part 2. Now motherfuckers dropping 4-hour documentaries and shit. I was doing this shit before everybody. So anyways, there's no limits. I think if you do mention dead people, I think that's too far. That's my only part where I wouldn't go. For the most part, if people, like if I was in a beef rapper, right? We're going back and forth. I wouldn't mention children, and family. Like I would stay off that. But if they brought it in, I would bring it in then too. Other than that, like I would not go there though. I would keep it between me and the person. And then I would never go to bringing up dead people. That's like something that I don't, that's just let the person's soul rest in peace, man. That's why I don't like a lot of this newer hip hop where it's my op's dead and they're rapping about them dying and all kinds of shit. I'm not a fan of that stuff. So that's the part where I think it's too far. And they asked him about that, and Rick Ross said I didn't hear it, didn't understand it, because apparently when they did this interview, the Bigfoot track dropped literally the day before. So Ross didn't really hear it at the time. And then they asked about Nas versus Jay-Z. And I like Rick Ross's response in the fact that, Nicki Minaj coming back really quick within a day, I think she dropped the track, maybe a day and a half, is very respectable, regardless if you like the track or not. Like Rick Ross says, this is coming from a rapper, someone who writes. Like he said, I'm a writer, rapper. That's hard to do. And the fact that they're even, like what he said about Nas and Jay-Z, the fact that they're even going at it, exchanging tracks, you got to respect that. Because nowadays we get fucking tweets and Instagram lives of people. Instead of getting in the booth, get your ass in the booth and respond on wax. Like Lotto just said to Ice Spice. Yeah, Ice Spice. You going to munch on that. Sorry, I was going way, way off track there. But that's what I mean. I respect, and that's why I told Benzino, I was like, older generation, I like the direct shots as well. I'm not a fan of subliminals. But yeah, man, great take from William Roberts. I think, he needs to speak more on these battles type stuff. It's really cool. And then he laughs without the money, who got the most money? Yeah, they're rapping about money. And I think he's like joking and he's looking at the camera because he, in his mind, for some reason, he thinks he's richer than 50 Cent. But, in reality, come on, man. Just the tour alone. Come on, man. Just the Final Lap tour generated about $150 million. And I got the numbers to back it up. Touring data. Look it up. Look up X. Go to X.com or Twitter, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Go at touring data at 50 Cent in the search. You'll see how much that bitch generated in the Final Lap tour. There's like 20 shows that it shows, and he made like 24 million just off of like 20 shows. So you can add the rest of the shows. He's basically averaging 1 million to 1.5 million a show. He did like fucking, I don't know how many shows. So yeah. Speaking of shows and 50's touring, Busta Rhymes, who was part of the tour, spoke with Big Boy about the tour. And he talked about how 50's always wanted to travel. Not wanted to travel, but he's always been open to going wherever the hell to perform. And if you haven't seen my 50 Cent getting his chain snatched in Angola, Africa, which is flopped, that video is done so horribly. YouTube just flopped that video for me so badly. Like, it's got 5,000 views. I've never had a video do that bad. And I have over 670,000 subscribers. It's ridiculous. I don't know what the fuck's going on with my YouTube channel sometimes. They don't push out content at all. I'm like getting screwed. But if you haven't seen that video, go look it out. Check it out on my Diverse Mentality YouTube channel. It's about 50 getting his chain snatched in Angola, Africa. And in there, I highlight of how 50 went to Iraq to perform. Like, this is a war zone, and he went there to perform. So 50 would tour anywhere, like he didn't, and that's what Busta Rhymes highlights in this clip. So let's play the clip.
And big up to 50 Cent for bringing us out there with him on that Final Lap tour. because what I was alluding to was not only was that probably the most incredible tour
and you've been
that
on
I've
many.
ever been on. I've been on many. I'm saying that because every night, every arena was sold out, 20,000 and better. And I've never been on a tour for 5 months. We did the first show July 21st. My last show was November 21st. He's still on that same tour.
Yeah, man. Well, that motherfucker said world tour.
50 is not, like, that's one thing, he don't play with that work. And ever since he first came to Violator and the first Get Rich or Die Trying came out, he was the only one that would jump on a fucking jump on a plane like the shit was a cab.
Right. Go get it.
That motherfucker don't got no problem flying 20 hours somewhere and coming back home the next day. 20 hours.
Yeah.
That's
fucking
fit.
tour all scheduled
Yeah,
long and
he
shit.
don't
Like,
give
man,
a
you know
fuck.
you could have
He
did
don't- he
San
don't
Diego, then
care.
LA, then there.
He don't care.
Yeah, man.
And this is how he was from the beginning. Like he, you know, so being on that tour and being able to do all of those antics every night, the way it was received was phenomenal, bro.
And your energy, bro. And we've had many conversations about this. I told you one time, bro, when, you know, I think is it break your neck when y'all start when y'all do the jog and y'all do the jog in place, and then you command and demand this energy.
Come on, man. Taking a plane like it's a cab out this bitch. That's a lot of CO2 emissions. Jeez, they're talking about us and not using straws, and you got people over here flying like they got cabs and shit, like they're cabs. But fuck, whatever. It is what it is, man. You got a tour. You got to make the money. Got to make the money, the moolah. So shout out to Busta Rhymes, man. I think I wanted to see the show more than once. I should have done that. I got offered free tickets to go in Atlanta as well because I got free tickets in New York. Went up there, met a couple of 50s people, which was cool. And then, you know, got to see the concert for free. Then I got offered free tickets in Atlanta, but I think I was sick. Yeah, I think when I came back from New York, I got sick, and then the show was too close. Like, the dates were too close or something like that. Something happened where I couldn't go. But, yeah, it was fire show, man. I hope 50 does another, like, tour in America because I think, you know, he does overseas a lot, but in America, he doesn't do it often. So, hopefully in America, we get more tour dates and stuff like that. That'd be really, really cool in the future. Not like a whole... You know, because I know he says this is the final lab, but he said, I'm not going to do like dedicated dates back to back to back. So that's what he means by final lab. But he still said he's going to do concerts and stuff, just not all scrunched up into 5 months like Busta Rhymes said. Speaking of touring, and this was interesting, and I love this. I like that Lil Wayne responded like this because Lil Wayne is at a level where he doesn't have to do this. So what am I talking about? Lil Wayne explains what's needed to make Hot Boys reunion tour happen. So let's play the clip.
With everybody being free and the time is what it is, like I said, everybody got their own money now.
Mm-hmm.
We got money. We ain't got to ask our mama no more. Are you open to being like on tour, like a Hot Boys tour?
I think we spoke about it a few times, but you know, they have situations like BG just getting out, just coming home. So you got to figure out, he got to work it out. Can he tour?
Travel.
Right,
Can he travel? You know what I mean? Things like that. You know, Juvie ready, and Turk ready, but it's really, we got to see if Jeezy could move around and all that like that.
So that's the only piece?
Yeah.
Because when I get to see it now, because now it's my money now.
Yeah, because everybody got their own thing. Like you said, everybody got their own record
Right.
label, their own situation. Nobody ain't tied down to nothing. So when we ask everybody like, yeah, we jump on whenever. Just we got to make sure we got to get Jeezy right.
Yeah, man, I pray that it all happens and comes together because, like, it's a dream of mine to see you on stage.
I like that. I love that Lil Wayne is, you know, like, yeah, let's do it. We just got to get that makes sense. A lot of people, you know, grown men, they got their own situations. They got to figure out their own situation when it comes to traveling and stuff like that. And, you know, once they figure that out, I'm sure they're going to gross a shit ton of money, especially in America. They can do a bunch of shows and make a bunch of money. And that's the thing that 50 was kind of doing, nostalgia type of tour. And they can do a same type of tour, nostalgia type of tour. And you can still make money off nostalgia, especially when the music is good. And Hot Boys definitely delivered. So with that being said, why the fuck does YG have a podcast? Like, what is with these famous multimillionaires getting podcasts? Like, aren't you guys rich enough? Stop taking and hogging up the damn lane. I'm just joking around. But yeah, in seriousness, I think celebrities doing podcasts has always been like weird in some terms. I can't think of a celebrity that does it really well. Mike Tyson does it really well. Hot boxing with Mike, which is really cool. Is Joe Rogan really a celebrity? Yeah, he was, because he's on Fear Factor and comedian. So I guess, but Joe Rogan was like doing it before everybody was doing it. So he's like the pioneer of this shit. So I don't know. I'm not really a fan of celebrity podcasts. Like, I don't want to hear YG talk with Lil Wayne about stuff. I don't know why. I like them sticking to their music and then sometimes doing interviews here and there. I think that's cool. I think just leave certain things. Like Shannon Sharp, he did his thing. Like there's moments where I think, a celebrity or a football player or whatever the case may be, getting in that position is really cool. But it's like, come on, guys, leave some of this stuff to people that study things and day in and day out. Not to disrespect him at all. YG, if he wants to do it, cool. But a lot of celebrities also start podcasts and they disappear after a while. Like DJ Khaled started his with Amazon. It's gone. Never to be seen again. There's a bunch of celebrities that started podcasts and just ended them. So it's really just a money play at a certain point, So when you can see it's a money play, it's like, I don't give a shit about the podcast, guys. You're just trying to make some money off the sponsorships and whatever you can, and then move on from it. And for other people, it's actually their livelihood, like me, for example. I have to do this stuff, not only because I love it, but I also get paid from it, so I can, live and have a livable wage and stuff like that. So, yeah. But interesting take from Lil Wayne, and I'm definitely want to see Hot Boys tour. Before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Golden Eagle for sponsoring this podcast. Yes, if it wasn't for Golden Eagle, this podcast wouldn't be possible. If you're looking for an energy drink that doesn't tear a hole in your pocket, Golden Eagle energy drink is the one you want to get. Golden Eagle has the smoothest taste with no aftertaste. You don't get acid reflux when you drink it, and you will save a lot of money. So check out Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. The link is in the description below. And how do you think this podcast would be possible without me having energy to do it? Come on, guys. You guys got to remember this. I need energy to do this stuff, man, because there's a lot of crazy topics. So look how smooth this thing sounds. Look at it. Oh, my God. It's fresh. Look at that Golden Eagle. Look at the can. It's so beautiful, too, man. Look at that. That's so fresh, man. So fresh. Golden Eagle energy drink. Go to the link description below. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Let's continue the episode. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, they dropped a commercial. And when I watched this shit, I was excited. And I was like, man, we're finally getting the Aftermath comeback. It's going to be Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg first dropping their album. Then Eminem's going to drop. And then 50 Cent. And then, I don't fucking know, Cash is going to come out of nowhere and drop an album. Stat Quo, D12. I don't know. I was just excited, right? Come to find out, the commercial, while it's a dope commercial, is about their drink, gin and juice. So let's go over the article. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg have teamed up on a new beverage inspired by one of their biggest hits from early in their careers. On Saturday, February 10th, the duo shared a cinematic trailer for their new gin and juice product that features them playing two gangsters reminiscent of Vincent and Jules from Quentin Tarantino's 1994 classic Pulp Fiction. Based on the clips shared by the legendary team's joint Twitter account, the drink will come in 4 flavors: apricot, citrus, melon, and passion fruit. Very cool commercial. I hope this leads to music, because when Dre got ready to really push Beats by Dre, he started dropping songs here and there. Like, I think one of my favorite Dr. Dre records is Kush. I love Akon on that hook. I love Snoop Dogg on there. The beat is insane. It's perfect to me. I Need a Doctor. I love that record as well. And Dre was having this kind of comeback with music and dropping joints here and there that were performing pretty well because, the Beats by Dre thing. I think it got him back into like more, things to do. And this, you got to push this product. So hopefully that means Snoop and Dre are going to drop a joint album. It'd be great to do that because it'll push this product a lot more. I don't drink, so at least drink like that. So I don't know if I'll buy it, but if I find it somewhere, I might end up just taking a can just to try it out. So shout out to them. Great business venture. And we'll keep our eye out, I guess, and see hopefully Snoop and Dr. Dre drop something because, man, I need some new music, man. I'm tired of Aftermath being an afterthought. How about that? That was genius of me to come up with in literally 3 seconds. afterthought. I'm tired of Aftermath being an afterthought because as much as you guys probably might not like Benzino, I know he didn't go up Aftermath. He went at Shady Records, but, they're all under one bunch there, in my opinion. So, I want Dre to come back. I want Snoop to come back. I want Eminem back. I want 50 back. To drop music, man. Come on, guys. We're tired of fucking waiting. There's always teasers and shit and music you record in your vault, but we never get it. So I can't wait, man. I will lose my mind the day that I hear anything of Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, or 50 dropping. I'm going to lose my mind. So we'll keep our eye out. Erick Sermon did a recent interview, and he talked about a lot of things. He talked about how he's potentially going to appear on the new Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg album, but he talked about some business. And I like insight in hip-hop business just because you get to hear cool stories of what checks people made and how, I'm a pocket watcher. That's basically what I'm saying. I'm a pocket watcher. All right. Erick Sermon has revealed he makes almost $750,000 per year for Metro Boomin, 21 Savage, and the Weeknd smash hit Creepin'. Metro's song famously samples Mario's 2004 hit I Don't Want to Know, which itself prominently samples EPMD's You're a Customer, meaning Sermon receives a significant amount in royalties. Sermon, who owns his own publishing, explained in an interview with Bootleg Kev, he now rakes in publishing money from the 2 tracks. So let's play the clip.
Me owning my own publishing, everybody calls me. So if it was for all the 50 Cent shows,
right,
whatever my placements, they got to call me direct. I was telling my man that music, the Weeknd is one of the most streaming artists in the world.
100%.
Right? So him and Metro Boomin did I Don't Want to Know.
Creeping, yeah, yep.
Which is You're a Customer, right?
Yep.
Only owe 4% of that record, right? 4%
of the original.
Of that record, of Metro Boomin. Of You're a Customer on that song.
Oh, so you own 4% of Creepin'? Of the publishing,
right? Listen, every 4 months, guess how much it brings in?
$200,000.
$220.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yo, but that's $240. But
$240?
That's crazy. How he was on the money.
He's in it.
Yeah.
4%.
Eric, talk about track listing.
Wait, hold on. So let me get this straight. So when you, because you have to hear the song first before you clear it?
Yes. Even when they did the Mad Singer and somebody on the Mad Singer did the record.
Yeah.
Mad Singer called me. Wow. Everybody has to call because again, everybody's not fortunate because luckily, Leo Cohen, his brother, made me me, and Rustin made me me, so I didn't have to sell the publishing because people sell publishing when they need to get the money. So luckily, I was able to survive without doing that.
For you, I think most people don't understand how important the pub game is because we always are pushed well, the streaming only pays this. If you get 1 million streams, it's like $3,800. But the real money is really in the pub, right? If you can own your publishing.
Let's back this up.
Yeah.
Even though streaming might be less than 1 cent, there's still more money being made than you signed to a label.
It's still more money being made if you don't sign to a label, is what you're saying?
If you sign to a label,
okay,
and you and you are independent streaming, you is a chance that you can make more money
than being on a major.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Even with the less than 1 penny.
Yeah, it's rough because
but people don't know. If you're not in the game, you wouldn't know that. But I have a streaming company, so I'm witness to what it makes.
Right. Well, on the pub side though, because I feel like the publishing side of music is not talked about enough, and I also feel like
no, people know that. But you've seen all the arguments with the Locks and Puff and everybody with publishing. That's always been a big deal.
No, I mean I'm just talking about these new kids, man.
Oh, they don't have a clue.
They have no idea
because the 360 has them.
There you go. There you have it. It's important. A lot of these new artists don't know about publishing and don't know that not having to work and making money off old content is possible. And I'm realizing that with YouTube. A lot of my old content, because I did documentaries and I did pieces of work that people will always watch, I could go a whole month without working, and still have income come in. It might not be as much as obviously if I was putting out new stuff, but it would still be income coming in. And that's not even like a publishing, that's a back catalog type of deal that even, I've gotten offers, deals to buy my back catalog, and they give me a lump sum of money up front. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is very interesting, man. I think it's one of those things that, if you don't know about it, it's going to bite you in the ass years down the line. So if you're an artist, learn about it. As you can see, he's making $240,000 every 3 months coming in his, mailbox because of them sampling his original song. And he only owned 4% of the song. Think about that. The Creepin' record, only 4%. Imagine if he owned a little bit more. It's insane. He's basically making $750,000 off something he made ages ago. So, yeah, man, I love these type of talks. And Michael Jackson's estate recently, which I don't understand. I'm going to talk about this. I actually didn't have it planned in the list of stuff that I'm going to be talking about. But I want to talk about this because this is very important. And it's a very interesting, news. So Michael Jackson's estate is ran by lawyers, and then it's ran by also Michael Jackson's mom, and then the kids have some type of say in it as well. That's based off my research, what I did. So let's go over the article and see exactly what happened. So Sony Music bought stake in Michael Jackson's catalog, which is valued over $1.2 billion. So according to Billboard, Sony Music Group has closed an agreement to buy half of Michael Jackson's publishing and recorded masters catalog in a deal that sources say valued these music assets somewhere above $1.2 billion. Other sources have suggested it might be as much as $1.5 billion. At those valuations, Sony will pay at least $600 million for its stake of the legendary rights. Sony's deal with Michael Jackson estate does not include royalties from the Broadway play and or other theatrical productions featuring Jackson's music. Billboard estimated that the iconic artist's estate earns about $75 million annually. These assets include ownership of master recordings publishing for Jackson's share of his songs, his Magic publishing catalog, and revenue from merchandise, royalties from theatrical shows featuring Jackson's music. At the time, Billboard estimated that within the $75 million estimate, Jackson's recording and publishing assets alone brought in $47.2 million to the estate, and that might be bringing in another $5 million to $8 million annually. The Jackson estate, however, did not take into account that his popularity appears to be growing as the streaming marketplace expands. And they said this is possibly one of the largest valuations ever of a musician, obviously, because it's Michael Jackson. But here's what I got to say about this. One, the interesting thing about this is, Michael Jackson didn't like Sony. He owned Beatles catalog. He's having issues with Sony. Was fighting with them about ownership of things. And a lot of artists do that usually. They usually end up in these situations where they're arguing with labels about stuff. And he didn't like Sony. So I'm genuinely surprised that Michael Jackson's estate sold to Sony, because that's something that's forever going to make money, publishing. And second, why sell at all? If you're making $75 million a year off it, that's enough to live off of it. Why would you need $600 million up front? What's the point of that? Think about it, guys. Just think about it. If you're making $75 million a year, why would you need an upfront? Why would you sell something that's going to forever make you money and potentially grow in making money? Because they said, listen, that's not factoring the fact that streaming is growing and all this stuff is growing to potentially make more money. So that $75 million can go up to $100 million a year. So why would you sell to Sony, the company that Michael Jackson hated himself when he was alive, and not just keep it? Keep that publishing stuff for Jackson's family for ages. They can live off that thing forever. I'm talking about forever. For the next 500 years, guaranteed they can live off that. No problem. So why sell something that they can live off for the rest of their lives? It makes no sense to me. I think there's something fishy going on behind the scenes. And I've always wanted to do a Michael Jackson documentary relating to the Sony stuff, and I will do it in the future. I just don't know when, but it's very weird to me, right? Why would Michael Jackson's estate, knowing that Michael didn't like Sony, sell publishing rights to Sony? That's something Michael Jackson was fighting not to do and not to them have rights for. So, yeah, I'm just genuinely surprised. If I was making $75 million a year off something, I would not sell for an upfront money of $600 million. Yes, $600 million is a lot of money, but unless I was in like a financial crisis out of nowhere, like I just was done with money and just blew $75 million every year and then got into debt and whatever the case may be, then, I'd be like, shit, I'm in a slump. I got to, sell this and never get in this situation again. But I doubt they're in a financial, And here's the thing. I actually almost forgot to say this. Artists, when they have a really long career, they have peaks and then eventually they fall off. Every artist has gone through that. It's just natural. That's something that always happens. Even Michael Jackson eventually, but his fall off would be like 8 million sold. Ooh, that's a flop. But like, because this guy would sell like fucking 60 million records on one album. So if he did 8 million on one album, it would be a flop. Meanwhile, like 50 Cent's best 8 million on Get Rich or Die Trying is seen as a huge success. So his fall off is a whole different tier of fall off, but he fell off, right? Last album that he had when he was alive, he dropped, did like 8 million copies. A lot of people viewed it as a flop. That's which is insane. To do 8 million and consider it a flop is crazy, but that's Michael Jackson's standards. Anyways, had his peak, fell off. The popularity kind of goes away when they're alive. And guess what happens? When they die, all of a sudden, boom, fans, mourn the artist, want to feel nostalgic about the artist, and they start buying a bunch of stuff relating to the artist, from CDs to merch to whatever. And then, because of the artist not being here anymore, depending on what level they're at, their aura grows even more. They become even more popular because more and more people talk about them. And that's what's happened with Michael Jackson. And if you look in the music industry, history-wise, labels have preferred artists that have been done with their peak to actually die versus staying alive. They actually want the artist dead because their sales spike and they keep growing and growing and making money. I'm not saying I'm not throwing things out there and saying that Michael Jackson got killed or anything like that. I'm just saying, guys, Michael Jackson was worth more dead than alive. And you can look up all the numbers. Michael Jackson's shit has skyrocketed since he's died. It even says in this article, his popularity has been consistently growing. Want to know why? Because people miss the guy. And two, they want the artist dead because the artist can't get in the way of things. When Michael Jackson was alive, he was getting in the way of Sony owning publishing rights and fighting them and speaking out and using his voice. Now that he's dead, nothing's being said. Family's doing their thing. I mean, they're coming. Also, we're forgetting they're about to come out with a Michael Jackson movie. That's about his life. I think it's a TV series or movie. I don't remember, but they're casting for it. It's going to be called Michael. Like, that's going to skyrocket his popularity again. They're going to make way more money. Like Sony's going to be eating like a motherfucker off this stuff. So, yeah, man, I think it's sad because Michael Jackson did not like Sony. So the fact that they're selling, and you guys are making $75 million a year, guys. Why would you need more money up front? Like, I understand if you're only making like, and I'm saying only because to their lifestyle, it's different compared to ours. Obviously, if I was making $100,000 a year, I'd be super happy. But to them, it's like if they made, let's just say they were only making $1 million a year. To their lifestyle and what they're used to, that's a very low amount of money. Then I can see, selling it and try to make a huge upfront money would make sense. But you're making $75 million a year. What are you spending $75 million a year on? Like, what the fuck? Where's that money's going every year? I understand there's a lot of, Michael Jackson and has a huge family and, his mother had a lot of kids, but Janet Jackson makes her own money. She's her own star in her own right. And all other Jacksons as well. They got their own publishing and make their own money. So where the fuck is the 75? Why do you need more than $75 million a year? That's what I'm confused about. I don't know. I don't like pocket watching. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I'm just confused in this scenario. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. I actually didn't have it planned on the podcast, so I'm glad that this publishing check thing kind of reminded me of that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of that Michael Jackson thing. I despise it because Michael didn't like Sony, and I just don't get the deal. Why would you sell off something that's going to forever make you money? Maybe I don't know something. Maybe I'm ignorant to something. Hopefully somebody can comment and say something and be like, Quake, no, this is why they did it, and this is the reason why. Maybe there's a good reason for it. I'm just maybe talking out my rear end and don't know what I'm talking about. So I don't know, but we'll keep our eye on this, and hopefully no more publishing gets sold at this point. Let's talk Kanye West, Vultures, and a lot of issues that he's run into, and the first one being from Ozzy Ozbourne. And this is interesting because, man, Twitter flamed Ozzy's response. So let's go over what happened. Ozzy Ozbourne has taken to social media to blast Kanye West for using an unauthorized Black Sabbath sample after the English rock band denied his clearance request. In a post today, which is actually February 9th, so it wasn't today. The article says today, but that was on Friday. X, formerly Twitter, the Black Sabbath frontman sent out a PSA in the aftermath of the Vultures album event that was live streamed the night before, during which Ye and Todd Dollarsign previewed a song featuring elements of the band's 1970 track Iron Man. In the post, Ozzy Ozbourne wrote this. Kanye West asked permission to sample a section of a 1983 live performance of Iron Man from the U.S. festival without vocals and was refused permission because he is an anti-Semite and has caused untold heartache to many. He went ahead and used the sample anyway at his album listening party last night. I want no association with this man. So here's the funny thing, right, about this. First off, Kanye responded to that. And he said he obviously has a celebrity handler who's on his account, which is pretty funny. But here's the funniest thing of this, like the funny thing about this all, is that somebody posted a clip of Ozzy Ozbourne a while ago, basically praising Hitler, and said that like he's one of the greatest or something like that. And this is a long time ago. This is from an old interview. So let's play the clip for you guys, and let's see who's in the wrong and who's in the right in this situation.
Who do you think has influenced your stage shows the most?
Me?
Where did you get your ideas from? From working in a mortuary when you were 15?
Adolf Hitler.
What do you mean by that, Ozzy?
Adolf Hitler had a charisma in a bad way. And I kind of admired him. He was a freak, he was a lunatic. But he had something about him, you know. I know it was all bad what he did. It was terrible what that guy did. He killed all these people and whatever. But it was like, he had something about him, you know. And I admired him, not for what he was.
So how are you going to say you admire Hitler, even though he said, it's not because of the things that, I don't admire him because of the things he did. He just had a charisma. So how are you going to take from Hitler and say you admired him? And then turn around and say Kanye is anti-Semite and he's a bad person and I don't want nothing to do with him. That makes no sense, Ozzy. Come on. Like let's play fair ground here and let's have some common sense here. That makes no sense at all. You admire Hitler, but then Kanye wants to use a sample of your song and he's an anti-Semite. Wasn't Hitler the ultimate anti-Semite? Come on. So, he got hit with that on Twitter and it was hilarious because people were like, holy shit, I never knew about this. Then Kanye got hit with another copyright infringement. So let's go over this article. Kanye West has found himself in hot water once again as the estate of another legend has come forward to claim that the controversial rapper didn't obtain proper clearance to interpolate a classic song. In an Instagram story post that dropped on Saturday, February 10th, the estate of disco legend Donna Summer, who died in 2012, said that West didn't obtain permission for the use of I Feel Love, the 1977 classic track co-written by Summer, producer Giorgio Mordero, and Peter Bollett. So, this is what they said. Kanye West asked permission to use Donna Summer's song, I Feel Love, but he was denied, the post read. He changed the words, had someone re-sing it, or used AI, but it's I Feel Love copyright infringement. The off-sounding song in question is The Good Don't Die from the Vultures 1 album. So they have issues with them. So I think this is why Kanye kind of pushes back his album. He doesn't get clearances because Kanye's got a bad image in the public, at least from a lot of celebrities. And then, he has streaming issues with artists, with labels not wanting to distribute his thing. But here's where I give Kanye a bunch of props. He still managed to release the product regardless. If you look, the album's released independently under Kanye's brand. That's it. There's no label involved. There's nothing. And Kanye is one of the biggest artists ever. So the fact that he's gone independent, I hope it encourages other artists to do more, because why the fuck do we need a label? Why are labels still a thing in 2024? That's my question. These artists are rich enough to make their own team, marketing team, distribution team, whatever. They're rich enough to do that. The only thing that should exist is these platforms like Apple Music. They should be technically, quote unquote, the labels. Labels should not exist anymore. I'm genuinely surprised that labels still exist. What the fuck does a label provide in today's time? I can't think of really much of anything. They're not doing artist development. which is something that at least if a label was around and they developed artists and they helped them, maybe then I'd be like, all right, at least there's something there. There's like a filter where like, we don't just get a bunch of random shit. But now there's not even artist development. So what's the point of a label? I love Kanye, the fact that he's gone independent. Even if a label didn't want to sign him, and that's the reason why he went independent. The fact that he's still pushing independently, I love that. I wish Drake would do that. I wish Kendrick would do that. I wish J. Cole. I wish everybody that was big in music, Eminem, Jay-Z, whatever, would just go independent and get away from these fucking labels. Because the artists hold the power at the end of the day. As as we talked about earlier, publishing and all this. Labels sign these artists at 360 deals, take all their money. The fuck you need a label for nowadays? So shout out to Kanye for that, for just distributing his album on his own. So the album ended up, peaking at number 1. It debuted at number 1 on the Apple Music and iTunes chart. Then the project briefly disappeared from both platforms because apparently, all these copyright issues and all these things. And this is what I mean. It's like Kanye needs to clear this stuff up a lot better. If you can't use a certain sample, man, it's all right. Just don't use it. Figure out a different way. You're Kanye West. You're a genius. You can figure out different ways to do this. Other than that, I was going to review the album, like I said, but too much stuff going on in the news, so I'm going to review it, and it gives me a little bit more time to consume it and kind of go over it. But give you guys a little hint, I enjoy the album, and I think Kanye can't be canceled because of his talent musically. I mean, honestly, this guy can say whatever he wants, and people are still going to bump him at the end of the day. Speaking of new music, let's get into it. So Kanye West, and obviously Ty Dolla $ign, Vultures Volume 1. Lotto Sunday Service, which is quote-unquote diss track to Ice Spice. I think she flamed her, so shout out to Lotto. Fabio Foreign, Pain and Love 2 album. Nardo Wick's Something featuring Sexy Red. Chief Keef and Mac Will made it Dirty Nachos. Usher Coming Home, the album. Glorilla, Yeah, GLD, Lil Skies, Thousands, Kid Cudi and Denzel Curry, Black Ops. So that's it for new music. Speaking of, before we get into album sales, though, speaking of album sales, we're about to talk about that right now. Post Malone and Sway Lee have made history with the first ever double diamond song. You know what's going to surprise you guys? I've never heard this song. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I've never heard this song. I stopped listening to Post Malone a while ago once he went like the pop route. Like I just stopped. Because Post Malone had a lot of potential to go the more hip-hop route. And he was getting embraced by hip-hop by a lot. And then he just went like this pop, route that was just like, eh. But shout out to them, man. Big round of applause to them. They're the first song ever to go double diamond, meaning they sold 20 million on a single. That is like insane. 20 million on a single. And that's what we're going to see as time goes on. Like more singles are going to start going diamond, double diamond, triple potentially diamond, because streaming is going to make that possible. This song came out in 2018. Just think about in the next 10 years, it's probably going to be triple diamond, 30 million sold. We don't know. I've never heard this song. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I've never heard this song. Never. I may have heard it, maybe, but I don't recognize that it's this song. Because I just don't, I never checked for it. I've never heard it. And I'm not even joking when I say this. I'll check it out, though, obviously, after this. I wish I could just react to it right now, but if I play the song, it's copyrighted, so they're going to, destroy this video. So, and this podcast. I'll probably get copyright infringed up the ass. So I haven't heard it, but I'm going to check it out because this double diamond thing is insane, man. I think that's a huge, huge feat. And congratulations to them, man. I'm not hating on the music. Obviously, it's just not I'm not really a huge pop fan. But, Post Malone and Sway Lee definitely are talented in their own right. So shout out to them. Speaking of sales, let's get into the album sales. Morgan Wallen, One Thing at a Time, is still number 1 at 64,000 sold. Toby Keith, 35 Biggest Hits, debuted at number 2 with 62,000 sold. Taylor Swift, Midnight's number 3 with 52,000 sold. SZA, SOS, number 4 with 52,000 sold. 21 Savage, American Dream at number 5 with 51,000 sold. No One Kanan, Stick Season, number 6 with 50,000 sold. Taylor Swift, 1989, number 7 with 49,000 sold. Drake, For All the Dogs, number 8 with 48,000 sold. Taylor Swift, Lover, number 9 with 46,000 sold. Zach Bryan, self-titled album, number 10 with 42,000 sold. Travis Scott, Utopia, number 12 with 35,000 sold. Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday 2 at number 18 with 26,000 sold. Drake, Take Care, number 24 with 22,000 sold. That's crazy. 22,000 sold off an album that came out in 2011. Rod Wave Nostalgia, number 30 with 20,000 sold. Scissor Control, number 31 with 20,000 sold. Metro Boomin, Heroes and Villains, number 34 with 19,000 sold. Lil Baby My Turn, number 36 with 18,000 sold. Sorry, I just went over Eminem's Curtain Call at number 35 with 19,000 sold. Drake and Drake. So Drake Certified Lover Boy, number 47, and Drake Savage, Her Loss, number 46. Both 16,000 sold. So Drake's got a couple albums on this fucking charts. Shout out to him. That's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. Please, guys, if you can support Golden Eagle Energy Drink. It's powered by them. This podcast, they sponsored all of season 4. Shout out to them. A lot wouldn't be possible without them, so shout out to them. Go check it out at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. I'm sorry if I'm reiterating this 90 million times, but please support it if you can, if it's in your location and you're able to do so. I know I asked if we could get a smaller pack out of the 24 pack, if we can get like a 12 pack, but right now the company isn't big enough in America to be able to ship out like a 6-pack or a 12-pack or something like that because the shipping cost is a lot. So hopefully if it grows in America, they'll be able to ship out like a 6-pack so that, people can get a smaller quantities. But right now it's only available in a 24-pack. So check it out, man. One of the best energy drinks I've ever had in my life. And I'm not even saying that because they sponsored, because I've been drinking this drink before. I'm sure I can even find a podcast way before they sponsored me of me drinking it. Because obviously it's a European drink and I was well aware of it a long time ago. But now that I'm sponsored by them, shout out to them. Like I said, drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Of course, Spotify, Deezer, Podcast, YouTube, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.